Too cold, too much inside, or not enough spine to survive. Every screen tells me who to be, selling shame like currency. Try to lock me in a narrow frame, but I don't burn by borrowed flame. Feet on the ground, chest held high. I hear the noise, I hear the lies. Push me back, I push through. I don't need permission to be true. They don't get to tell me who I am. I stand my ground, I make my stand. No shame, no fear, I draw the line. This is my voice, this life is mine. I am, I am, I am. No shame, no fear, I draw the line. Labels fly like open fire. Every word just feeds the pyre. Pick a side, stay in your lane. Smile quiet, hide the pain. But I was built from sweat and will, from broken nights and standing still. I won't bow to every trend. I know where I start, I know where I end. Feet on the ground, chest held high. I hear the noise, I hear the lies. Push me back, I push through. I don't need permission to be true. They don't get to tell me who I am. I stand my ground, I make my stand. No shame, no fear, I draw the line. This is my voice, this life is mine. I am, I am, I am. No shame, no fear, I draw the line. I am not your headline, I am not your trend. I define the man I am from beginning to end. This life is They don't get to tell me who I am. I stand my ground, I make my stand. No shame, no fear, I draw the line. This is my voice, this life is mine. I am, I am. No shame, no fear, I draw the line.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get it back in here. Shut this music off. Maybe. Oh, geez, really? What's going on? There it is. All right. Welcome in to a Potatoes Eye Live. Sorry about the harsh start there. Seems to be normal anymore. Don't know exactly why my chat highlight is not working out like I want it to, or usually, of course, because I didn't get set up in time. All right, so we'll just jump right in. We'll get into this panel and excuse me. See what the topics are. See, I know there's some people in chat. There's quite a few people in chat. Let me see who's in chat, because man, why does everything seem to work out not right? All right, who do we got? I know we had Hardwire. Thank you very much for joining the chat, sir. I know that you've joined my Discord. I appreciate you being in the Discord. And if you need anything in that Discord, please let me know. Dave, appreciate you dropping all the links up there. If you guys, excuse me, if you haven't seen Tyler TV, his link is up in the top. If you're not part of my Discord, please join the Discord. I know there's some people in the panel waiting to join up, so we'll get into there here just shortly. Havoc, I know you're in the panel. Appreciate you being in the chat. Tyler, appreciate you being here, buddy. And Real Rain, it looks like that might be all I've got in chat for right now. I know that Jim Bob is live as well. If you haven't checked out Made by Jim Bob or Rattlesnake TV, they're both really good channels. They're actually live right now as well. Hopefully we'll get a few more people here. TNT, looks like you're here, and World Radio. Now that I've changed my chat from top chat to live chat. Appreciate you being in the chat. Excuse me. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you engaging. And, the motivational quote of the day, just be good to each other, I guess. And we'll get right into it. And we'll hop right into this panel here. Give me just a second. All right. Oh, does Havoc need a push to talk? Okay. Not sure why he should have that. It shouldn't be that way. But yeah, you need to probably go through the settings. Do you know the permissions? Do you know what I'm talking about, B? Okay. I'll be right back. All right. While I'm waiting for that to be cleared up, looks like TVT just joined the chat. Appreciate you being here. And don't call it art. Be civil. Oh, man. I know. It's not all civil. I mean, there is some discourse, or hopefully some discourse. I try to push back if I don't get some pushback from the people that are in the Discord, in the live panel. And again, if anybody wants to join the live panel or knows anybody that wants to join the live panel, anybody is welcome. They just have to be basically vetted, because the channel is not visible. That way you can't just happen across the channel and accidentally join up. And that way we can make sure that you understand that this is a live panel. You will be on the YouTube live. And so that way everything's cleared, and then you can be let into the channel, like the the 3 that are in there currently. And then it looks like Blood Logos joined the chat. Greatly appreciate you being in the chat and engaging there. And again, hopefully we'll get a couple of people more coming in. But for now, I'll go ahead and jump back in here and chat with the people that are on the panel, and we'll go from there. Hopefully they're ready for me this time. All right, are you guys ready this time? Okay, cool. All right, I'll switch over screens and we'll get into it here in just a second. Of course. And there we go. Boom. All right. Of course, that's not what I wanted to grab. There we go. Okay. So, starting out, we'll go ahead and let you guys shout out your channels. Trey, I know you've got a channel while Mr. B is on his way out and back in. Go ahead and shout your channel out if you would real quick.
Yeah, you could find me. My channel's Trey_SELOR on YouTube, and I make original content, videos, and video game play.
Right on. Mr. B, I know that you've got a channel. Go ahead and shout your channel out.
All right, I've got 2 different channels. I do AI music. I do King Crambler's AI Jambles, where I do a bunch of different genres, rock, funk, and all sorts of different stuff. And then I have my AI Psalms for the Everyday Man, where I've made the Psalms from the Bible back into a cappella musical pieces, the way King David intended.
Awesome. And we have a newcomer on the panel, Aaron Parks. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Make sure that you can talk and everybody can hear you and everything good.
If you can't unmute, I will take care of that in a second.
And if you can't unmute, go ahead and, if you don't know how to go to the side chat, if you can go to the side chat, go ahead and go to the side chat and let us know what's going on, and we'll go to the side chat and check it out. And then let's see, Havoc, you don't have a channel or anything, do you?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, no worries.
Hopefully, maybe one
Hopefully.
day.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So starting out the panel, we've got a couple of prompts to go with. I'm usually pretty open with like where we go. If you guys have a suggestion on where we start, or if you have a discussion that you would like to bring up, is there any suggestions while I find the topics? No? Okay. Let me get into the topics here. So the first topic that I had listed, and again, we don't necessarily have to start with the top one, but it is there any way to affect significant change in the world outside of the ballot box? Who gets to decide what's problematic? So that's number one. This is number two. Who gets to decide what's problematic? Critics, audiences, corporations, or creators? Number three is it okay to seek your own joy if you know it will be at the expense of another? And if so, how far can that be taken? If not, what constitutes too much cost on the part of the other? Is it possible to give knowledge, understanding, or even just perspective to someone unwilling to receive it? Would it be right to do so? If possible, would it be wrong would it be wrong not to? And then the last one is UBI, Universal Basic Income, is it a safety net or a fast track to inflation and dependency? I mean, it looks like we do have another newcomer into the panel, Alcove. If you could speak, go ahead and speak and make sure that your settings are okay. No? Okay, so hopefully B will get working on that while I dance around like a trained
He's
monkey.
unmuted. He should be fine. Aaron, can you go ahead and speak for me too?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
And Aaron, welcome into the
Okay.
panel, buddy. Do you have a channel that you would like to shout out or anything like that?
Oh, no.
Okay, no worries. I appreciate you being here and willing to engage with us here. Let's see. Doesn't look like we have anybody necessarily new in the chat, but I do have my chat widget thing here, so that's cool. I'm finally highlight people. Okay, so let me hold on. Give me just a sec here. All right. Was there anywhere that we wanted to start? Is there anybody on the panel that had anywhere that they would want to start with, or do we just want to start with the top one and go from there? Top one and go from there.
I would say just start from the top and work our way down if everybody agrees.
All right. So is there a way to affect significant change in the world outside of the ballot box? Anyone want to weigh in on that first?
I
Say
believe
absolutely you can.
Absolutely.
You can make significant change outside of the ballot box using your imagination. You can create things to alter people's paths. That's just an example.
Okay. And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to welcome in MPKNME to the chat. Appreciate you being here and engaging in the chat. Go ahead. I don't believe there's anybody else new in the chat.
Yeah, I think like people with various YouTube channels and things like that are affecting change every day. Like people like Andrew Wilson, Jay Dyer, Rob, Poole, and like they're spreading a message that reaches a lot of people. So that'll in turn cause change.
Okay.
I would take it to an extreme, to a point, to say that the ballot box is probably, well, in the way that it is now, probably the least effective way to impart change.
That's probably good possibility. Anybody else want to weigh on? Okay. Yeah, I do want to say that there is a way to push change. Obviously, I have a channel, and that's what the point of this channel is to push that change. So we'll see how well it does, but that's ultimately the goal, right? Okay, and I always like to give anybody anywhere to go with that before I move on to another topic, because it seems like we kind of all agree that there is a way to make that change, and we're kind of all pushing for that. Have we had a chance to fix Alcove? Have we had a chance to fix him?
I'm not seeing
it being a problem. Okay. Well, Alcove, if you can hear me, try to talk. Or maybe if you don't, if you can't talk, and you can go to the side chat, maybe put it in the side chat that you can't speak or something. And I'll trying to keep an eye on that while keeping people entertained like a trained monkey, right? All right. Okay, so let me, and I definitely don't want you to be overlooked, Alcove. If you have a point on this subject and we kind of skip over it, please bring it back to this subject. All right. So with kind of on that same subject, who gets to decide what's problematic, right? Critics, audiences, corporations, or the creators that are creating this change?
I think it's more of like a personal thing. Like, if you find it problematic, I think that's what the debates would be for and everything like that. And I'm pro, like, whooping someone's ass if they need it.
Fair. Real quick, just joined the chat, so thank you very much for being here. I know that you've been busy and I haven't seen you around, so I wanted to give you the shout out while I see you. Appreciate you being here and engaging while you can. And again, if anybody that is in the chat that would like to join the panel, more the merrier. The more pushback that we can get with the different views, the better off we're going to be. I think that might be everybody that's in the chat as of right now. And again, if I'm missing you, please shout me out, because I'm not seeing probably everything. All right, back to the conversation.
Give me a mic check now, Alcove. Can you hear us? Can you speak now?
Dang, that's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Okay.
Can you type in the chat, Alcove, if you at least hear us?
Right. I know Dave had talked to him before he came up.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I didn't give good enough explanation of what we needed to do to add people. I thought it was pretty
permissions
easy.
Are set. He should be here. Be able to be heard.
Weird. All right. Well, don't necessarily.
Maybe it's a tech issue on his side.
Maybe that's possible. Actually, now that you point that out, Alcove, no, he had his settings right to be able to talk to Dave in the other channel. I was going to say maybe his mic isn't set correct, because I had to reset my mic. Every once in a while it'll reset it. And then also Aaron,
try something.
Your name keeps popping up. I always like to recommend having your not real name online for not doxing purposes. And somebody pointed it out in the chat that there's a real name that's popping up, or possibly real name. So I just wanted to point it out, and so that people can change it if they want to, not necessarily point that out like who it is, as I was just about to say it. So anywho, and if you don't know how to do that, again, one of the moderators, Dave or Mr. B, should be able to assist with changing your name.
It's not a problem for me. I mean, it's my real name, but
okay.
I don't care if they know people know where I live or anything like that. And if they want it either, just doing it for practice.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to make sure. There was somebody the other day that wanted to make sure that their name had been changed, and then I just wanted. So, like I said, I just wanted to point it out. Okay, so back to the conversation before we get too far off. Okay, so who gets to decide what would be problematic? Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I mean, you know, sadly, I mean, I would say it's the victors, of whatever situation you've got going on. They're the ones that get to decide, even if it's like the victors of the court of public opinion, or anything of the sort. I mean, like, while you personally can decide to take it that way or not take it that way, I mean, that doesn't really mean anything on the grand scale.
Okay.
So, like, just the victors, I guess. And
To the victors go the spoils, I guess, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I concur. It would be something similar to like a council that we have now, and the council picks the books or picks the art to be shown.
Yep.
But it's all just like art councils and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, when you ever create art, it opens you up to a subjective interpretation of the art. So that also means potential cancellation.
Fair.
But that's only because the benevolence of man, truly. Like, because if we use the strength aspect, I mean, the outcome would be completely different.
Right. And that's where the force doctrine comes into play, right? With force, we can basically create any kind of change that we want to see if we really want to push it to that extremity. And obviously there's been some times that we've pushed it past that we wouldn't probably should have. Real quick before we get too much into it, Rubber Ducky, looks like you just jumped into the chat. Appreciate you being here, buddy. And everybody can still hear me and everything is good, right? Make sure that chat is still moving. All right. So Alcove, I did see in the chat, on the side chat, he says he's here, he can hear us, but he's not. I'm not here. I'm not seeing a reply. So just so you know, if you can hear me, go ahead and chat back in the side chat. Okay, so if when we're trying to adjust change, especially on a national level, and we critics, audiences, corporation, or creators, we get a panel of people, and that panel is going to come from basically either majority or the elite. So how would we potentially make that a good decision and not it just going back to the way that it is going now?
Make them understand who it was that enabled them to be billionaires.
Okay. Fair.
I sort of agree. I think wise people recognize like good ideas, and you can always try something out for a while. And if it don't work, then change it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mean that in the communist aspect of like, oh, the workers is everything, but at the same time, you've got to understand, that you didn't do it all on your own.
Right. Well, and that's the biggest thing, right? Is when we talk about the 1%, essentially, there's 99 to 1, right? That's why they're the 1%. And so, like Havoc just said, they essentially work for us. So how would we essentially go about picking a panel of leaders to choose something of that magnitude, I guess?
I do not think democracy is the way.
Okay.
Like mass rule. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Because
any other points on that, maybe?
Yeah, I would like to add, we should look to the 1% because they're the successful ones in our society.
Okay.
So they've managed money, they've managed businesses, etc.
Okay.
They've done specific things to get there that we're obviously not doing. And in order to be in the 1%, you only have to make $540,000 a year. That's it.
Oh, okay.
if I were like, I mean, to say that the 1% is only the 1% because of, how things, they've essentially set up for themselves. Like, I mean, once they get into these positions by using, I mean, like mass voting, people who just want red team or blue team to win, that to me is a problem.
Okay.
In a way that, I mean, they set it up to where they don't really have to do anything,
Right.
They
Yeah.
just sit and collect money.
Yep. Real quick,
Yep.
we have a newcomer into the chat real quick. Pharmacat, appreciate you being here. I know you've been kind of in and out. Appreciate you joining and giving the engagement while you can. It looks like we have a couple more people, or at least one new person in the actual panel. Blood Logos, would you like to try to talk and see if we can hear you? Maybe. I'm not sure if my all my settings are messed up or something.
Hello.
Hey, good to hear your voice, buddy. I'm not sure why we're having a problem with Alcove. I appreciate you being here, Blood Logos. Do you have anything to put in on either topic that we've covered so far?
I kind of missed a little bit of that last topic because they pulled me down into the vetting room chat. So
Sure.
But I do have some thoughts on the first one that you guys were
Absolutely
talking about.
Okay.
I think outside of the ballot box is the only way to affect change.
The only way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think our probably 99% of our politicians are either corrupt or working for other countries. So I think outside of the ballot box is the only way.
Okay. All right. Good perspective there. Anybody else want to maybe push back or weigh in on that at all while we're on that topic?
We have to affect the outside of the ballot box first so that we can get people to the ballot box to vote these people out of office.
Exactly.
We have to get them out of office.
Exactly.
There's no end goal if we don't affect the ballot box ultimately.
Right.
But ultimately, you're affecting the ballot box, which means the majority of the change comes from the ballot box. Is that not true?
Right. But in order to get people to the ballot box, we have to affect the change to make them think that it's worth going to said ballot box.
The change outside of the ballot box could happen a lot quicker, but to say so would go against terms of service. So I'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
Fair enough.
I would say the ballot box was made to literally stifle change.
Yeah.
I mean, cause countries, nations to rip themselves apart. While the 1%, just sit on top of the hill and watch us fight and collect the money.
Before voting was a thing, countries still ripped themselves apart.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but it was for different reasons. Like now, this is the main reason.
Right.
I
mean,
I think that the 1%, 99%, I mean, most people just attribute that to just like wealth. There are people that are good at making money, but there's also like good, like morality leaders like priests and such that they should be looked to as the 1% in that field. And there's different people with different skills that should comprise like their own little sector, I guess.
Okay. Real quick before we get too much further, we got a new person here, Hardwire. Would you mind go ahead and talking, and so we can make sure your settings are good? Maybe. Welcome into the panel either way. Hopefully we can hear you here in a bit. We'll see if we can get your settings figured out. All right. Appreciate that input. Anything else on that?
I think we need to define what wealth is. Is wealth just monetary collection?
It's actually
or is it wealth of like family? Because the poorest people in America are among the top 20% wealthiest people in the world.
Right.
If you just go by monetary.
Right.
Well, when we're talking about, the top 1%, we're talking specifically of monetary wealth.
Yeah, and when you speak about the top 1%, though, that's only if people that make $500,000 or more are considered in the top 1%.
Yeah, but they also have families too.
Trying to figure this shit out.
There we go.
Because they-
Hardwired, welcome in, buddy.
Hardwired.
Yeah, the settings have been fun for both sides, so we're all boomering it up today, I guess. Welcome in. I appreciate you joining the panel, buddy. Do you have anything to weigh in on it while we were talking to you specifically? No.
Heard you loud and clear there for a second.
For a second.
Hardwired.
Hopefully we didn't lose you. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else wants to weigh on that? Now we can see you at least. We can see that we can't hear
there
you.
we go.
Now I'm getting a good
There we
panel
go.
going on. All right.
There we go.
Okay, so we're back on kind of the first topic. So is there anybody that wants to weigh in on that while we're on it? Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, all Cove too.
Yeah, we got people camming up now. That's good to see. Good to see. And if you don't want to, don't feel pressure. Don't feel pressure to cam up. I don't want you to have to.
There we go. Now I can hear.
All right. Yay. Now we're figuring it out. Yeah, I'm kind of
I
poor.
can hear.
The StreamYards is expensive, so I do everything on Discord for now. So I appreciate you joining and
I
struggling.
knew I'd be able to figure it out.
Right on. All right. Anybody want to weigh in on that while I'm... All right. Looks like we got a newcomer in the chat. Go ahead.
I just think the 1% or the wealthy should be kind of like goals for everyone to achieve. Even Obama wrote about it. He wanted his kids to be more like Trump when they grew up. And even immigrants from overseas, they look how wealthy you can get in America, and they want to be wealthy. So it can add positivity.
Okay.
We should look at the 1% as a goal that all of us should try to achieve by adopting some of their traits.
But you would have to make these sacrifices.
And
like
people that are in the 1% make sacrifices.
right, but then they don't have the family that they want. The way that you
That's
said
correct.
that 20%. I'm just saying if the wealth that you are searching for is of the 1%, like you're looking for the wrong thing.
Okay.
It depends on who you are.
And the fact, and it's my personal opinion that it was that standard of wealth that has made this class, struggle, between the wealthy and the non-wealthy. These people that, which I don't necessarily think nepotism is a bad thing, but through nepotism and, many other avenues, like they have essentially boxed themselves in to the bank vault,
Right.
and, blocked everybody else out.
Right. But the thing is like money doesn't buy happiness, right? Money doesn't take care of all of everything that we can possibly need in our lives. We need to be back to self-sufficiency and the drive to actually want to be self-sufficient and the drive to want to be part of said 1%, whether that be through monetary value or whether that be through the value like myself. I'm a construction worker. I put value into the infrastructure because I build buildings and things like that. Where I'm not rich, I would call that a fairly high valued job, if you will, right? Because we need those kind of jobs out there. Alcove, you kind of side chatted. Do you have anything to put in that you'd like to say? Okay. While we've got a second, MSM Liars joined the chat. I appreciate you being here and engaging with me here. Doesn't look like anybody else has actually joined new. So I'll keep posting things on the screen, but we'll go ahead and get back to the conversation. Is there anybody else that wants to put in on that?
I think that money don't necessarily buy happiness, but it does, however, buy comfort. And it's a lot easier to reach a level of happiness if you have at least some level of comfort where you don't have to worry about whether you're going to eat or pay the rent or not.
Right. And that's the biggest thing, is the back to the self-sufficiency and the drive to want to be part of that said 1%, the ability to feed your family, the ability to provide for your family. How do we make it so that we can actually do that again without having 3 different jobs and such like that? You know, I mean, we're starting to get into a conversation that we can't answer, right? But I'm curious, since we've gotten there, if there's anybody that has any takes on it.
Well, I would just say stop participating in the rat race that the 1% has literally designed, to keep, their wealth intact while ignoring the well-being of everyone else.
Right.
Well, before we go much further, what are we considering the 1%? Are we considering that billionaires, millionaires, trillionaires? At what point are you at the 1%?
Well, and that's what Trey was saying.
I was just going off of Sailor's, Sailor's point, which was 500 grand in a boat.
Right. I was going to say, I think Trey had mentioned 500,000 is considered 1% in what, and it's like, because I want to say after 150,000, all your needs are met. That makes people happy. Okay. So TNT was just making a comment about 150,000 being comfortable wages. But I want to say I heard somewhere that if you were making over 150,000, like globally, you're in the 1% or you're in the elite or something like that. And when Trey said 500,000, that still makes sense. But like I said, I thought it was lower than that even to be considered elite status, right?
Yeah. And like, I'm not even like, see, I reject, I get what you mean by elite status, but I just reject that. I view it as a misnomer, between the classes, because it's essentially, a caste system in the way that, you've got the masters and then you've got the servants.
Right.
That doesn't make them elite in that way, but I get what you're saying. Like,
well,
that's
if you look at the Forbes top 400, the 2/3 of all billionaires were self-made, and 79% of all millionaires were self-made. They didn't come from a nepotistic wealth system. Everyone who is at that level, or not everyone, but 2/3 of the people at that level are self-made. Like, they made their business that made them their money, that made them their wealth. Same thing with the millionaires. They made their businesses, made their money, made their wealth.
If you don't mind, like, I'm just asking, like, can you give me?
Sorry.
I was just gonna ask, like, just one example from that list that you're talking about. Just so I know what you're talking about. Like, I'm not like trying to do a gotcha or anything. I don't know about the Forbes list.
All right. So off that Forbes list that are self-made millionaires, you have Bill Gates is one of them. I'm not saying anything about anyone's character, just as to what is considered self-made. And Bill Gates came out of a garage.
But it was his garage.
It was his buddy's garage.
So he wasn't self-made. He had some help.
Yeah.
You're always going to have help.
Yeah, it was his parents' garage.
Right. Well, real quick, while we're at a
that's my
lull
point.
for a second, I want to appreciate and welcome in the newest comer to the actual panel here, Narsty Worry. Do you want to go ahead and talk? Just make sure that your settings are good and we can hear you.
Thank you. I also have a channel on YouTube called Don't Call It Art.
Perfect.
I do doing shorts content right now.
Perfect. Yeah. Definitely check his channels out. Good stuff. I'm subscribed to that stuff too. And Blug Logos, appreciate you coming on cam. Alcove had mentioned something in the side chat. So the numbers for the 1% are rapidly increasing. That could be why I was so conflicted. My numbers were conflicted. While I'm talking, I've got Wickmoto. He joined the chat. Joined the chat, and I didn't say hi. I think I even paused and said something to somebody else, and he caps locked and said, "Hey, Tater, I'm here." So I'm just saying hi. Okay, so back to the conversation at hand. Is there anybody that wants to put in on that while we're on it?
Bill Gates wasn't self-made. I mean, his father, worked with what's her face at the Planned Parenthood, and was all into some other stuff. I forget. I would have done some research on that, but
Right.
it's been a while.
You mean Margaret Sanger?
Yeah,
Was it-
Margaret Sanger. He worked with her and had some shady connections as well. And then Bill Gates ended up, basically stealing the Microsoft Windows essentially out from under his partners.
Yeah.
Well, my point wasn't even about that. It was more so that like no one is self-made. Like that, it's impossible to be self-made.
Well,
I mean, you need.
I mean, if we go down to your mother birthed you.
right, exactly.
No one is self-made.
I don't even mean like that.
Crossing the street.
Right.
Well,
Well,
I
being
don't
self-made
mean
is more
like
of a
that.
matter of more like hitting a lottery. It's just a sheer luck.
exactly.
I mean,
a lot of these people
you
that
could say it the same in verse. It's like you could like everyone's self-made. Like.
well,
That's my retirement plan. I'm going to hit the lottery one day.
right. That's all of our plans right there. I don't bet, but I'll hit the lottery one day, right? So
I always say, you know what the odds are of winning, the same as the guy who does.
pretty much, yep. So real quick before we jump in or anything like that, is there anybody that doesn't like to grab for the mic that would like to say something before we get back in and start jumbling up? Okay. And I know Alcove, I don't know if your settings are still off or if we just can't hear you. I'll put in as you type in the side chat. I don't want you to leave, just so you know. So I'll try to keep an eye on that, or Mr. B can, or something like that. Back to the conversation. I'll let you guys back to the floor.
I think that one of the personality traits, I guess you'd call it, to become that 1% is a willingness to step on people and climb, to be able to climb to that next higher level. And not talking about everybody, but like for that top tier of individuals, they had to have fucked somebody over at some point.
I think that's more like a fraction of the 1% you're talking about, because you could make $500,000 a year and actually be providing a useful service to your community, Like,
Sure.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you stomped on people, but it's an extreme fraction of that 1% that I think is the real issue that most people are talking about when they talk about the 1%.
It's fair.
I think it's like an invisible boogeyman, kind of like the patriarchy.
Patriarchy is all. It's
I
out to
still
get us
think
all.
everything's a matter of perspective.
I can't
It's all how you
succeed
look at
because
it.
the 1% is preventing me.
Fair. What was that, Hardwire? You had said something. I didn't catch it.
I said, I think it's all a matter of perspective. It's all how you look at it, because even Joe Schmo down the street who got a job had to step on somebody to get that job. So it's all the way you look at it.
Yeah, if there's two people going for a job and only one of them can get it, one of them is basically stepping on the other to get it. However, I don't disagree that there's a certain line that you can't cross when you're starting to step on people, and that line should be observed, and it's starting to disappear, right?
that goes along with the whole equality of outcome sort of deal. Like, give people a test and find out how skilled they are, hire the more skilled person, and then allow them to come up that way instead of just whatever race, quote unquote, gender, everything like that you are.
Right.
Make it
Yeah, everything
different.
about DEI is stepping on somebody.
Well, and that's just
Well,
it.
I mean,
Go ahead, Havoc.
You can't have a merit-based
Oh,
system
sorry.
without somebody winning and somebody losing.
And that's just it. Is even with
Well,
the
that's a good
two-party
point.
system, you know. Havoc was just about to say something. Let him have the floor for just a second.
no, I was just gonna say how, like, you know, when I reject the term like self-made millionaire, you know, like that's kind of what I'm getting at is you need to step over someone, you know, you've like, regardless.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, it's always at the behest of someone else. And I mean, I don't desire, you know, equality of outcome. And I'm not saying that people can't succeed. I'm just saying that, you know, a certain
Right.
group of people get power. Do you
I mean,
think they're going to make it easy for them to lose power?
Right.
Or do
Right.
you think
How-
they're going to make it as hard as possible for them to lose that power?
Right. What you got, Mr. B?
I was just going to say, how pedantic are we trying to be with this term of self-made? Because are we going to make it so that, like, even if you bought a coffee that morning, you didn't make your own coffee, now you're not self-made? Or are we going down to, like, you had to buy paper from the paper mill, now you're not self-made? I mean, it's how pedantic are we going to be with this term?
Well, and that's
Yep,
the
you
thing.
could be self-made for
Clarify that.
30 years, and then as soon as you get that coffee, it's
Yep.
over.
All right, real quick.
You're only self-made if you raise your own cows and you sell the milk and then you butcher that cow and you trade it off for some chickens.
Even then, you're not
Well,
self-made. You got the cows; they're doing some of the work. All right, real quick.
Did you make that act yourself? You
his
killed
words
the
of
cow
love.
with?
His words of love. Appreciate you joining us in the chat. Really appreciate the engagement from you. Pharmacat, she says, this is victim mentality. I'm not sure who she's talking about here. But MSM Liar says, MSM Liar says agreed, Cat. So while I've got a second, in the side chat, Alcove said 435 people are applying for one job. And it really, I don't know exactly how to explain it because that really drives home a point for me. In my area, the unemployment rate is gone down, but people aren't working. But the jobs are out there, they're hiring, but nobody's getting a job. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't to me, right? Everybody's looking for work. Everywhere is hiring, but nobody can find any work. Is anybody experiencing that?
People,
go ahead, Hart.
they say they're looking for work because they've got illegals and stuff working for them.
Okay. That's fair. Anybody else have anything to put on that? Anybody
Well, I can find work. It's just that they want you to work way longer hours. You know, anything that pays decent, you got to work.
But that's
like
victim
60 hours.
mentality.
Well, that's victim. Well, and
Well,
see that
I could take a lower paying job and just I could pay my bills and just make it, but I have hobbies I want to do.
right. Well, and that's just it. Is we should be able to live comfortably, not just survive, not just scrape the bottom of the barrel to exist. We should be able to have something to our name. Real quick, Pumpkinhead, join the chat. Appreciate you being here. It looks like that's pretty much everybody new. So go ahead with anybody points that they have.
Has anyone seen Little House on the Prairie? The show, have you seen Little House on the Prairie?
I think I might.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've watched the episode.
I might have. Hardwire,
I
you're
read the books when I was a kid.
yeah, right.
Gotcha.
Hardwire, your mic. Every once in a while I can hear you decent, and then every once in a while you're kind of real low. I don't know if that's something that you can maybe look at, just so you know. I like to hear what everybody has to say, just so everybody knows from the chat, from the panel. I always like everybody to have their piece. I will do my best to give you your time. I know there's going to be people that don't like to scramble for the mic, and I will do my best to watch for people that are trying to put in. And because it is my show, I will take over. If I have to, I will mute people so that I can get you to have your piece. So just don't be afraid to talk your piece. That's what this channel is for. All right, going back to it before I continue rambling on, because we all know I can. Oh, real quick before I let you go, I am God. Apparently, there's a newcomer in the chat. Really appreciate the engagement. Somebody new is always appreciated. So again, if you're new and you haven't joined my Discord, that's there in the chat, I'm sure somewhere, and you can join the panel if you would like to. For now, we'll go ahead and get back to it before I ramble on and bore the panel to death. Go ahead. No? Nothing?
You want to go back to Little House on the Prairie and talk about inflation?
Yeah, that's what we were on
Child labor.
I interrupted. So go ahead and go back to that for now.
Oh yeah, just as an example, Little House on the Prairie, which is documented. It's the life of Laura Ingalls. They made a TV series, badass TV series. Actually, I'd highly recommend it. But in the series, all the kids are like 7 years old to 12, and they all have like jobs. They're tilling the farm. One of them's a seamstress. They make like 10 cents a week. A pair of shoes is like a quarter, and that's too expensive. So maybe we should have more child labor.
Fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Anybody want to?
I won't disagree with that.
Won't disagree with that one? Okay.
I was working at 13.
Okay.
Started.
Okay. We do have a newcomer in the chat real quick while I've got a lull in the conversation. Tara, really appreciate you joining the conversation in the chat. And again, anybody that wants to join the panel is free to join. It's free. It's for anybody. On that note, with what were we just talking about? Wow, that was out my head there. Anybody? No?
Child labor.
Child labor.
You mean
Thank you.
Inflation?
Inflation? Yeah. So child labor.
You mean as far as the topic?
It was child labor. That's what we were just talking about. Thanks, Blood Logos. You're the G right there. So with that, where is the line that we would draw, right? I was working at 13, maybe even younger than that. Where would be the line that we would draw for said child labor? And what would we consider child labor? There's a lot of questions there, right? That you can kind of see where my head's going. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I'd say probably depend on the danger of the job. Like you wouldn't want kids mining coal or drilling for oil or anything like that, but it's okay for them to like maybe mow a lawn or walk dogs or shovel snow or anything like that. In my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, if you grew up on your parents' farm, would you not help them plow the field?
Okay. That's just it.
Yeah.
Is if you're growing up on the farm, you're gonna have to really learn that farm. Real quick, Hardwire had tried to say something and his mic kind of went super low. I'm not sure if it was because we were talking over him. Try to talk again, Hardwire, and just let him talk for a second. See if that helps him talk.
Yeah, I said child labor is a good thing as long as it's not forced labor.
No, not on my end, which will be most of. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, guys. Give me just a sec here. Let's see if I turn you up at least on my end and see if we can at least hear you on stream.
Maybe it switched which mic is receiving on you.
I was going to say that's actually a good point, Mr. B. There might be a setting in your Discord that might have your mic as a separate mic. That's why it sounds like you're in a hallway or something like that. Okay, so see, was I just about to? Okay, so Alcove has put something in the side chat. Mr. B, did you see that?
Let's see.
Okay, so
One of Trey's thought problems, and let's not
relitigate the past. Yeah,
relitigate the past. Yep.
So whether this is Trey's thought problem or not, I don't know. But are we going to be relitigating the past? Is what he's, what kind of along the same lines as we talked about on one of the other panels. Should we start to treat people with kid gloves like we have been? Should we let the old ways take back over? What are some thoughts on that? Oh, about child labor.
There's no need to relitigate the past about child labor.
About the child labor. Okay, I got you. again, I just want to make sure you're getting your piece in. If you always want to get everybody's side in, again, making sure I'm trying to keep an eye on that side chat. Anybody else want to weigh on that?
Well, kids should be given something to do, I think, to, get them ready for living in the real world. But child labor, I don't know. Seems like we did that in the past, and then we had the Industrial Revolution and all that kind of stuff, and then started the school system, so kids are in school now when they would have had jobs, if we didn't have the technology. But maybe they should be given jobs to do at school,
Okay. When you say that, do you have anything in mind?
It could be just like having, have a rotation, like this week, somebody's gonna do sweeping the hallway or something like that, or just whatever you could think of, like maybe take a little weight off the janitor's back or something.
Okay. Anybody want to weigh on that?
To implement that with the kids, you'd have to reintroduce some things like respect in the youth. A lot of youth don't have it anymore because they didn't get their ass busted by their parents for cussing them out for being asked to take out the trash or anything like that.
Okay.
That's why we need to replace teachers with veterans.
Or you just need to keep them away from the claws of the state.
Okay.
Homeschool.
I mean,
Well, and that's
that's
the thing is that's where I'm at. I'm not sure who homeschool. Who said that?
I did.
I agree
I
with
figured it was you. Homeschool is where we kind of need to go back to, and I'll always defend that myself. I was kicked out of school. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a good person. That's why I'm here speaking out against the degeneracy. I had enough of it in my younger years, and I'm trying to change in my older years. But when I was kicked out of school, I went through homeschooling, and I learned the value of homeschool. And the ability for the parent to know what their kid is able to understand and learn and comprehend. And so I will always defend the at home, but the socialization aspect of homeschooling comes into issue for a lot of people. So any thoughts on that with socialization?
Well, I know that they have programs sometimes where the homeschool kids will get together, with the public school kids and stuff like that, Depends on what kind of community you live in, though.
Okay. And if you don't have... Sorry, Blood Logos, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, I do think it is a real problem. I went to public school as a kid, and the homeschooled kids were always... a little socially awkward,
Yeah.
But I think it's just a matter of, finding them friends. It's not that difficult.
Right.
You can go to public school and be socially awkward as well.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the real question is it worth just having a socially awkward kid to know that they actually learned things of value?
Right.
Versus having a kid that's not socially awkward that can't pass a math test.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with public school. It's just a matter of does it sound any better? I turned audio,
everything up. Yeah,
you're better now.
We can hear you now, buddy.
Ducking like StreamYard has audio ducking, and it had a setting in there that says audio ducking, which means if somebody else is talking, it turns me down. There's nothing wrong with public schools. I just think that more people need to be involved, and there needs to be a way of public schools forcing teachers to listen to the parents when they say shit. I'm sorry. Is there something against cussing on here?
Not necessarily.
I cuss a lot.
I don't try to, but there's nothing wrong with it. You're okay.
On my channel, every other word almost is a cuss word, not intentional. I don't use the Lord's name in vain. That's the only real cuss word.
Fair enough.
I think there's a lot of things wrong with public school.
Yeah.
I think more
Right now in Maryland, there are 0 schools in the Baltimore area where kids can at the 12th grade level can pass their math tests. 0 students.
There's no enforcement for anything in public schools. There needs to be more oversight and better enforcement of making sure they pass tests, and when parents have input into some of these crazy teachers that are giving their own political views, all that stuff needs to be the hell out of schools. They come to a math class to learn math, history to learn history. There's no inserting, your political views into what you're teaching. And I thought back to when I was in school, and believe it or not, I remember some of my teachers doing that to me, and I didn't realize it until I really sat and thought about it. But that stuff shouldn't happen, and there needs to be more a parental oversight and enforcement in public schools. There's asking people to homeschool their kids. There's just too many people out there that just have absolutely no way they can do that because they just can't afford to.
Okay.
That goes with the whole thing, though. It's like you're forced, into this position. I mean, like observing that, some may say that it's a victim mentality, like, but if you look at and observe how things are going and how they have changed literally just from 80 years ago.
That's because the
Like
teachers really.
one family, one patriarch, one person that could, take care of the whole family.
Okay.
I get in a lot of trouble on my channel. I see that a lot.
Rich people allowing.
Sorry, Havoc. Hold on. What was that, Hardwire?
Oh, I get in trouble on my channel a lot because I say that you can trace a lot of society's issues back to women's lib. And soon as women went into the workplace, men got paid less, families fell apart. You could trace a lot of things back to that.
Okay. What were you saying, Havoc? Sorry about that. Oh, Blood Logos. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Havoc.
What were you saying, Havoc? Go ahead.
No, it's just that, I mean, like I don't know if I made it seem, that I'm blaming, like billionaires or the rich people for everything earlier, but I'm saying is like once these people get a massive amount of power, they figure out how they got the power. Do you think they're going to let it go? Or are they going to let us plebes just keep making their money for them? Like when people were invested in themselves, like not only themselves, but, their family as well, like things were good.
Okay.
But as soon as people were able to import illegals or, dump women into the workforce, doubling our workforce, like that was the end of it all.
All that got implemented with twisting the minds of the kids, like you see going on like now, and there's not enough, I'd say, parental oversight over the teachers to make sure they're acting right to raise decent people.
Well, sometimes the parents need to make sure they raise their kids right too. They can be really disruptive in school.
It's a combination of two things. It's parents not doing enough and too much federal oversight and not enough state level oversight over the schools. You can't have the federal government telling everybody how to teach every kid, because kids learn different in different levels of society in different places. A farm kid in California is not going to learn the same as a city kid in Chicago, is not going to learn the same as a urban kid in Texas. They're all going to learn different.
I think another big part of the problem is the curriculum itself. They're teaching false history and things like evolution.
That's just it. Is like kind of like B was saying, the government oversight that you've got. They're teaching all the just woke agenda, like Blood saying here. Pharmacat in the chat says the rise of the atomic family caused that. Where in history did we value independence so much? Where are the grandparents, the community? like I've mentioned on other streams before, the churches, right? Let's see, looks like we've got another comment. I can tell you as someone who works in agriculture, if the average North American wanted to do hard labor, we wouldn't need to bring in our offshore workers. And unfortunately, that's kind of the problem, is we've become a lazy bunch of people, and we don't necessarily want to work the hard jobs unless we're paid a higher than normal wage, right? Again, as a construction company owner, I tried to hire, I'm one-man crew, so I don't make very much money on my own, and I needed people to help me to try to start making money. They wanted money immediately as they started, and I didn't have it to give. So I went through about 50 people in about a year trying to find somebody that would be willing to work with me to build my company and be able to say, yeah, I worked from the ground up. I didn't make much at first, but now I'm killing it because I have no problem paying someone what they're worth. It's just you're not worth anything when we first start out. It's like this channel here. I'm not making anything off this channel. And I don't necessarily plan on, right? I want to spread the word. I want to fight the good fight. I want these panels to happen. That's what the point of this channel is, not to make necessarily money off of it. And so we need to have that drive to do something with ourselves in the world, not just make that end meet. I think that might be all I have to say for right now. You guys go ahead and go back at it.
But I think, well, an idea I had a while back was to, instead of whatever wage that you give somebody, you try them out for a couple of weeks and then decide what they're worth.
Okay.
Like, and I think everyone should be okay with that mindset. I know most people won't be. There's
Right.
a lot of people value or undervalue themselves.
So on that note, are you basically talking like what is that called? Shoot, I can't even think of the term. I'm potato. What can we say? You're basically working for free. Is that what you're saying? Start basically working for free, and then once they understand what you're making, then they back pay you. That essentially is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
More or less.
Okay.
It's like, okay, you've given me a job, I'll work and do what you say, and then, but you have to have the trust in the owner of the company or boss or whatever to actually pay you what you're worth, and then maybe have a negotiation after, like, say the first 2 weeks or month or whatever.
Okay. Anybody on that?
Yeah, I just reject the notion that Americans are lazy. Like, I mean, in the way that they had to outsource work. Like they didn't have to do that. They chose to do that to make more money themselves.
Okay.
And now when Americans are wanting, a piece of that pie, they're called lazy. They're like, oh no, we could just get Pedro and he'll come and, he'll do it for dirt cheap so I can make money.
Okay.
But then, I'll pay Pedro big bucks. Just don't make much, like that argument doesn't make sense to me as far as, it was a chat. I'm not sure who exactly said it, but it was talking about bringing offshore employees. But I mean,
What
that
they need to be
argument.
able to do is they need to be able to do something like tariffs with work. If you hire somebody out of the country for cheap, you're going to pay like a tariff on it, so that it.
Yeah, you should be taxed heavily.
Yeah, it would make employers think twice about hiring people out of the country and hiring more people from inside the country if their labor was pretty much equal. That's what tariffs are supposed to do, is equalize things to make like Chinese products and American products similar prices.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot to do with like factories, outsourcing factories, but now they're bringing the laborers into the country to counteract that.
Yeah, they need something like that for work.
The best thing we can do for that, for hiring outside sources, is the recidivism tax. Make it astronomical. If you're going to send money out of the country, it needs to be taxed, so it's not worth sending the money out of the country.
So,
Or just simply making it a crime or enforcing any laws that are on the books that if you do hire somebody that is not a legal citizen, then it kind of deters that.
They're trying to
If you're
do
hiring
something like
illegal,
that
you should
with illegal
have your
immigrants,
business
and they
license.
can't even get them to pass it.
right. So just so you guys are aware, Hardwire, he's getting through, but just try to give him space if he's trying to talk. I know Havoc, you are able to talk quite a bit. Nothing wrong with this, guys. I'm just want to make sure everybody's getting their piece in. I want to say somebody started to kind of try to talk, and maybe I interrupted you. Let you go. No. Going to the chat real fast. We have a bit going on here. We have a few people that are kind of disagreeing. So, like, for example, MPKNME, I believe that's a Canadian, if I remember right. And nothing wrong with that, right? So, take it with a grain of salt. We're taking it from somebody who isn't from America. But it says, dude, Pedro isn't getting paid big bucks, right? And where I do agree. So I believe TNT asks me what I do for construction. I'm a brick and stone mason and do just about general hard handyman work, just about anything that you can think of to make money. I'm a 304 like that, right? But when it comes down to it, I have to basically cut my own throat, cut my wages under essentially what it would be considered a living wage to be able to compete against some of the other construction workers out there. So, the big bucks, they are kind of getting paid big bucks for what they're considering. I Am God says tariffs equals bootlicking. So I'm curious what our takes are on that one. These guys love taxes. I Am God says right after the tariffs. Tariffs are bootlicking, and these guys love taxes, is what they said in the chat.
LTDS or whoever
Real quick on the
arrangement syndrome that Trump didn't invent tariffs.
Okay. B, what were you saying?
and real quick on the whole illegal immigrants and paying them less thing. The problem is when you pay them less, you drive down the wages for the legal participant, because now they can't make as much because you're paying somebody else half as much.
Okay.
So now the average pay for the American worker has to go down to match the competitive price of paying somebody else less.
Okay.
I would also add that saying that tariffs are bootlicking is bootlicking behavior by itself. So what do you have to say about that?
Okay. Try to keep an eye on the chat there.
I Am God forgets that most Christian churches and stuff have a tithe, which is a 10% tax just to go to church.
That's just it. That right there is going back to the tithe. And it's not just 10%. According to what I've understood lately, is it's actually a little bit more than that. When you think about like the biblical tithe to the priests and things like that we don't have to pay now for whatever reason, but it's like more like 30% is what I'm understanding now. But long story short, it's a flat fee. So either way, you're still having to pay to be a part of that organization, essentially. So yeah, I'm not completely sure what they're referring to there. It does say end minimum wages, and you can afford to produce my products. I Am God says end minimum wages, and you can afford to produce my products. Anything on that one?
How about implementing a maximum wage rather than a minimum wage?
They already did that.
And it looks like we do have a newcomer in the panel. Hopefully we can hear you.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining. This is the one that was saying that Pedro doesn't get paid a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And thank you very much for being here. And go ahead and speak your piece.
I had to turn the stream off to join the Discord, so I don't know what you guys have been talking
Fair.
about. But the whole thing, I didn't want to offend anybody in America by saying that North Americans, not just Americans, there is 2 other countries here.
That's fair. That's fair. That was my bad. That was my bad.
That they're lazy, which I know is not, en masse true. There's lots of hardworking people, but my point is that we also live in a society where we want so much without really thinking about what goes into it. So yeah, people might think bringing in offshore people is going to save the company or the farmer costs, and it might. But at least here where I live, on average, offshore workers get paid minimum wage, and that's it. They don't get anything else.
Okay.
So, and we had during the Rona, lots of asparagus farms around here that, twice a day going out and cutting it. But we had a really hard time bringing offshore people in. And the local farmers were even offering to families, bring your kids, come out, cut some asparagus, we'll pay each one of you. And nobody lasted more than a day. So I think that also just kind of speaks to the work mentality around agriculture and that other kinds of blue collar stuff.
Okay.
The mentality that a lot of North Americans have.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thanks for speaking your piece. Narcy Boy, I want to say you were just about to say something.
I just said the filthy Canadian has a point.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And that's unfortunately, not unfortunately, because you have a point. We have become lazy as people just in general. Like, I don't know, across the nation or across the world, I'm a potato. I just know my state, my little town. That's part of the reason why I'm on this platform now, trying to understand where everybody else is coming from. Because I really don't. I was, like I said, I was homeschooled because I was kicked out of school. And so I have a little bit of knowledge about the outside world because I moved away and I joined a bigger town for a little while, but in reality, I'm just a potato. So I appreciate that input. Okay, so anything else on that?
It ain't until you get rid of welfare systems when somebody has a choice. When there are jobs to be had and you say, I won't do that, they need to have no other choice. There's no welfare for you if you have a job you can work but won't do it because you think it's too hard.
Right. And that's the thing, is we need to get rid of the safety nets to a certain extent. Like I've mentioned before, the people that need it. I know many of the people in my Discord need disabilities, need the safety nets that they have at their disposals, and I will always defend those safety nets in those regards. However, the safety nets, like you just said, where it's, well, I don't have to go to work, I could potentially just go on government assistance. Those are the things that we need to be focused on trying to eradicate somehow.
Majority of those safety nets don't work for the people they're meant to work for originally. Because for example, I had got laid off one of the jobs that I had worked at once, and it was a huge shock, but when you, at least in my state, in the state of Ohio, when I went and applied, they told me, well, you got a waiting period, and then you got to wait time on top of that, and then you have to wait until after you get your last paycheck because that counts as income. And I'm like, by the time you actually give me anything, I'll have another job. I need help in the interim so I don't fall way behind, and my kid is going to need stuff. Those are the people it was meant to help. The people in between jobs, the people who have sudden changes in their life that smack them out of a job. It happens, and that's what the system was originally meant to help. People like that, not people who want to sit at home and do nothing. I mean, that doesn't include old people or people who are disabled, but people who can work but won't.
Right. exactly. There's somebody maybe trying to. Aaron, it looks like you just came off mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I live in Ohio also, and I've been trying to file for disability for like 5 years now, and they've made it incredibly difficult. Like, I'm not quite 50 yet, but due to some injuries that I've suffered, I'm unable to stand, and not to mention my like mental problems and shit.
Mm.
But they make it very hard to get any kind of assistance. The only thing I've been able to get is Medicaid, which is I'm extremely thankful for, that I'm able to see doctors without going even deeper into debt than I already am. But I think that might be because they're understaffed or whatever, but they need to be able to see people and exactly know their situation, and it doesn't seem like they care to do that.
Right. Well, and that's going back, like I'd mentioned before, back to the communities, back to the churches, back to where we understand each other, we know each other, we're personal with each other. To the chat, TNT says, where I am, you can survive on $20 to $25 an hour, but you're not living really under 50 an hour. It's not really living, you're just surviving. Wickmoto says, not to be mean, but Pedro being hired to framing, and he's from a country that doesn't frame with wood, makes no sense. They shouldn't get paid. Wickmoto. Where I don't disagree with they shouldn't be as necessarily paid as much, or something needs to be changed a little bit. If they're not from a country where they're building the same way that we are, we're having to hold their hand. That was my problem with trying to hire 50 people in that year. Is I'm a brick and stone mason. It is an extremely hard job. Not many people know how to do it. And so I was getting 50 people that had never touched a brick in their life and wanted $17 an hour to work something that I would have to hold their hand. And I was making, I think, $13 an hour is what I was paying myself at the time. So I wasn't even really making that much money, and they wanted way more than I could afford. But like I Am God says, the government won't allow you to live off the land, and not sure. Oh, and tell you your own animals, etc. Then shouldn't they provide supplements? I'm not sure if that was the aftermath of the same one. They said, well, the government won't let you live off the land. And that's, unfortunately, I agree with that, because I would love to be able to homestead one day. And that's not necessarily something that's really easily possible anymore.
Where does he live that people make $50 an hour?
Right. TNT, where do you live that people are making $50 an hour?
I'm an engineer, and I don't make anywhere near that much.
Are you? What type of engineering do you do?
I'm a mechanical design engineer.
Nice. That's a good job. I Am God.
I only make about $60,000 a year.
I Am God says typos. Sorry, I'm not sure what he was trying to say. But yeah, see, that's just it. Is I'm a brick and stone mason, so should be fairly decent work, and I make my business makes 80,000. You know, that's with overhead and all the good jazz. I'm not making really anything when it boils down to it. In this day and age, but better than most. I'm definitely not trying to say that I'm downtrodden and things like that. However, right now I'm not working full time. I'm just getting scrimps and scrapes because of the time of year and things like that, I'm sure too. But yeah. So anything on that?
Pay them higher, but charge them for the training cost, because you're a business owner and a mason, not a teacher.
Right.
So you get charged for that.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Still a certification course or something.
Right. It's actually a decent idea. I hadn't really thought about that. TNT says, I was getting $64 as a carpenter in the union. That makes a little bit more sense. I'm in a union. Doesn't say where he was from. So we can't move there, but anyway.
I'd take a job as a punching bag for $64 an hour.
I know, right? Man. At this point, I don't know what I would do for $64 an hour. I wouldn't sell my soul or my body, that's for sure. All
Are
right.
you sure?
Are you sure? Yeah, right.
I have $64 right here.
Right.
Just
I used to
kidding.
make some pretty good money. It was called prevailing wage, which was paid by legislator tax dollars. And I used to make up to like $58 an hour just doing road construction, setting up the work zones for the road construction to happen.
Yeah, and
That's something you can't explain to me. Why is it our representatives make so damn much money? The House of Representatives, they make I think it's $174,000 a year, and they're supposed to represent the average working man, and they make way more than most people do.
174.
Yeah, I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I think congressmen should be on a lottery system, and they should make a minimum wage.
Yeah, and that's
Well, I was
just
going
it.
to say about that road. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The road construction, that's all state funded, isn't it? So it'd be
Depends on the road. But some of the jobs, it's called prevailing wage, which means tax dollars are used to pay for it.
Right. Yeah,
Some
you
of the
always want
jobs
the
are not
government paying
tax
for
dollars.
stuff because they're
The
going to pay
average
more for it.
congressional salary right now is $175,000 a year.
Jesus.
Yeah, they should only make about what the average professional worker would make well, it depends on where you're at. Around
Right,
here, it would be
that's-
60, 70,000. I would be okay with maybe 90,000 or 100,000, but 175,000, that's double what the average person makes.
It should
Jeez.
depend on where the borders of where they serve is. They should
Right.
make the average of the worker in their area.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
should all live in a
That's a good
dormitory.
idea.
Give them a dormitory, make them all live in the same building.
Sure.
It should be 100% negotiable
Right.
as the worker. I should, and in the state that I live in, it's at will, so I can work for whatever I want. I can leave whenever I want. I can get fired for whatever. Doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
The at will's cool.
Right. Real quick.
But it shouldn't be.
In the chat, sorry, real quick before we get back into it. Pharmacat says, not gonna lie, I am building a house right now, and the one Mexican crew I hired for the job was the only one that showed up and did the job to completion. That's freaking depressing because white guys, what the hell are you doing? We've got a newcomer into the panel, the Steel Man. Appreciate you joining. Go ahead and unmute yourself and talk so that I can make sure your permissions are set right. No. Back to the chat real quick. Barn Diesel says ag welders that own their own company are currently charging $150 an hour to come to the farm and $90 an hour at their shop. Most are solo welders. Dang, that's fair. And I've thought about being a welder a couple times. And then real quick, I know that Blood Logos dropped off. If you're watching the stream or you watch this, I appreciate you joining. Really appreciate the engagement that we had. And again, anybody on the panel, I tried to give everybody a chance to talk. I'm still new at this, guys. Please bear with me. If you ever feel like I'm being biased, it's not out of try. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody gets their piece in. Havoc, you have been quiet for a little while. Do you have anything to say, buddy? Okay, so back to
nothing different than I reject the notion that Americans, and
are lazy.
I don't mean the continental North Americans. I mean that would include Greenland as well.
Okay.
But just the fact that as someone who has worked in agriculture, and now I do tree work, which is one of the most dangerous jobs. And doesn't really pay that much.
Fair.
I know tons of, and when I say Americans, I'm not just speaking of white Americans. I'm talking about, legal immigrants, Black Americans, white Americans, like anybody that's actually Americans.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're good. And I was just gonna say that's just it. Is like everybody has gotten really lazy in the first world countries in general. I know that, again, 50 people I went through in a year trying to find somebody that would actually stick with the job more than a day. 3 weeks was the max amount of time that somebody stuck with the job.
Absolutely, Potato. You can also look at the death statistics, and you can see that obesity is a huge problem, which is sloth. It's one of the deadly sins.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, if we're lazy as a country, it'd be represented in death statistics and the obesity in the nation, which it is. So we are lazy as a nation, just like the Canadian lady said.
Okay.
Well, doesn't Mexico have a higher obesity rate than we do now?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Well, I said, doesn't Mexico have a higher obesity rate than we do now, or at least
I wasn't
comparable?
comparing it to. I was just the number of deaths in America attributed to obesity.
Well, I know, but if you're comparing obesity, I'm just saying, and I'm talking about, immigrants that are given jobs, that should belong to Americans, which tends to go to Mexicans.
Okay.
We can't let them take that from us.
Does Mexico's obesity a problem negate ours?
But no, that
Then
has
we're not
nothing to
gonna-
do with what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not comparable, really.
That I wasn't comparing the
You
two.
were-
There's a lot of factors that go into
Said
that
you were
obesity.
comparing.
No, listen, he was making a point that obesity proves that Americans are lazy. So I said Mexico's is comparative, if not higher than ours. So how would they not be lazy too? But they're getting our jobs. The offshore people use that.
It could be a direct relation, Havoc, of the amount of illegals that send money back to Mexico, so therefore they can eat like a first world citizen.
It's not the bigger ones probably crossing the border, I bet. They have a harder time doing it.
They can't swim? What are you talking about?
They-
No, maybe they float.
Well, maybe.
No,
Sorry,
I'm
I'm being
saying-
rude. That was rude. I'm sorry, guys.
I was just saying he was trying to compare the obesity rate, and I was saying that doesn't really mean anything considering the comparative level of obesity between America and Mexico.
It's so I was curious, and I just had to chat GBT'd it. But when comparing obesity rates between the United States and Mexico, United States is slightly overall adult obesity higher than Mexico, with roughly 42.9% in the U.S. versus 36.1% in Mexico.
That's still pretty close.
That is stupidly close for a third world country.
Yeah,
Well, if you think about it, the skinny people who come across the border
And
and the fat people are
whose
staying
money
there,
paying for it?
it's bringing us down while they're going up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly.
Across the border is probably the most exercise they get.
Remember, try to do one at a time, guys. So I want to say Nasty Boy was talking, Trey was talking, and Havoc was talking all at the same time. So go ahead and Trey, we'll give you the floor for a second, and then Havoc, I'll give you a floor in just a second.
I kind of forgot what I was talking about.
Fair
It's all
enough.
good.
Do you remember, Havoc? What do you got?
No, I'm just saying it's our money that they're using to stuff their fat faces with.
Right.
I'm a big old fat guy. I ain't climbing no wall.
What was that, Aaron?
I said I'm a big old fat guy, so I know I ain't climbing no wall.
Fair. Oh, we got Kat in the panel. Welcome in, Kat. What do you got for us?
Y'all are triggering the F out of me. Oh my god.
This is gonna be fun. Welcome in, Kat.
I can't stay long. I'm on my way to work.
Fair enough. Well, speak your piece while we've got you.
So, well, I mean, for right now, you guys are making a comparison of obesity with Mexicans and Americans, and Mexico, quote unquote, being third world country. So how can they be obese? Well, you have to look at the nutrition of the food, correct? Like cheap food is more unhealthy, correct?
Sure.
So I don't think that's the correlate you guys think it is.
Okay. And when I say it third world country, I was being a smartass. I just want you to be.
No, I'm just saying, like, comparatively less wealth than USA. Like, I understand.
Okay, that's all I meant.
Refried beans are high in fat.
Well, I mean, they're protein rich as well, but you have to look at the nutrition as a.
I thought that's why I went on a diet.
Right. Well,
I looked it up.
From what I understand, Mexico is actually a lot more healthy. Their food is a lot better, a lot better for you.
More better.
I know.
Well, I'm just saying, like, nutritional, like, nutritional value of specific foods, like cheaper foods, are not as healthy.
I think cheaper prepared foods are not as healthy, but I have cooking capabilities and I can feed myself quite well with fresh produce, and it's way cheaper.
That depends a lot on where you live too.
Fresh produce is cheaper than like a canned or frozen produce where you live, because that's wildly untrue where I live.
Yeah, if you like meal prep.
Wow. I was like, I mean, apparently Mexico has a higher diabetes rate than America does, and
maybe the starches and
the margaritas.
The OECD, I guess, he said he got it from Chat GPT, but
yeah. So take it with what you can.
They was tied at like 42 or 49 point or 42.8 and 42.9. It's essentially the same. And if their food is healthier, then they must be eating a lot more of it.
So I think really to get the comparison you're wanting, you need to look at Mexicans in America obesity rate, like their rate compared to Americans' obesity rate, because it is environmental. So if you're trying to draw a line between obesity and laziness, then you have to look at the environment. So you really do need to compare Mexican Americans or Mexicans living in America versus actual Americans at obesity rate. Drawing it back to actual Mexicans living in Mexico, it's not. It's a non-sequitur.
Like, I'm just literally saying the skinny ones come here, and then the fat ones don't.
That was like my whole
that brings
point.
our number down, and then their percentage goes up.
Yeah, my whole point was that you can't just use obesity rates because both countries have comparable rates.
That's like the one thing I agreed with you on this entire time. So that's why I had to come up and make that point.
I appreciate it.
Right. TNT says Mexico is huge. Some areas there are as skinny as Somalians, and others they're muy gordo. So that's fair. But like they're saying, if the skinny ones are coming over here and lowering the population there, it's hard to say. And then TNT says, keep in mind that there's enough Hispanics in America to skew the averages, but there isn't enough Americans in Mexico to skew the averages in there.
That's why I think, like Havoc and I were saying, you have to look at the divide it. So
right,
Mexicans living in America versus like native born Americans.
Right.
Well, and plus it's colder up here, so like we have to store our fat like in the winter more.
Right.
So
yeah,
I don't know if that's a factor.
That's cope. That's cope.
Me and my fat ass, we gotta store. We gotta come up with something to cope with. Give us a break.
If that's the case, explain fat asses in Texas and Florida.
They should just be burning it off.
I've been prepared for Ice Age for decades now.
What was that? Sorry.
I've been preparing for an ice age for decades now.
Yeah,
That's
it's not fat, it's insulation.
it's insulation. That's right. I did see a chat from Blood Logos that I'm not seeing to be able to highlight. Mexico has a massive diabetes problem, addicted to Coca-Cola, is what he says. So that's interesting.
Gotta get that fridge sig.
Right. Okay. Didn't mean to derail the conversation. Just wanted to point that out. But I derailed the conversation. Nice.
No,
Well done, Tater.
No dead air. No dead air, fellas. Lord.
Well, they're at like 16, almost 17%. And, the United States,
Right.
since I can't just say North America, but the United States is at like 10%.
Yeah, you fend the Canadian. I'm just kidding.
Which I do want to also point out that Greenland is a part of North America.
It's not what we're
So we
talking
might as well
about,
call
though,
it Orange
so it's
Land now.
irrelevant.
That's ours.
That's the 51st state. What are you talking about?
It's our
It's Orange
51st.
Land now, baby.
Change the name to
That'll probably be the
America
next
Land.
homestead possibility.
Right.
And if it's all America, why did they get so mad by changing from Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America?
Yeah,
Damn.
it's because they hate North America. Wait, I meant United States. My bad.
All right.
All right.
Tater, I'm going to leave.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you for having me on your panel.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Dang, I was just joking.
Yeah, we want to be careful with how we joke for how long we joke. So let's see. I'm God. My mic says permission won't allow you to unmute.
It should be okay now.
I was going to say, if he just joined the Discord, he's going to be as a newbie and not a Grattan. We'll need to change him to
I've
Grattan.
already changed that too.
Okay. So yeah, if you're watching I Am God, you should have access to join the vetting room to be able to come up onto the panel if you want. We'll be going for a little bit longer.
Oh, I'm God. Let me just double check.
What time is it? Okay, yeah, we'll be going for a little bit longer. All right. Anything on that? Didn't want to derail the conversation.
As soon as she came in, she used the word triggered. I knew she'd be trouble.
Triggered. Cat's,
No, that was me.
Cat's pretty
Wasn't
base.
even her.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say she didn't come in triggered. Cat did.
I don't like
And,
that word. I think it's terrible.
I don't care.
Sounds
okay.
like you're triggered about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're triggered by the word triggered.
Gotcha. So, I Am God is the steel man. I don't know how he's.
I've already unmuted his.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
is
go
that
ahead
the
and
steel
try.
man? I'm God steel man. I didn't even know.
I
was
didn't either.
fighting with him in chat.
That's funny. Oh, that's too funny.
I didn't even know I was fighting with in chat about AI.
Oh, really? That's funny. Let's get him unmuted and let's have a brawl before you go to work, huh? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you better unmute steel man. I've got like 2 minutes before I gotta go.
2 minutes. Yeah, right. The word triggers him. TNT says the word triggers him. And then Wickmoto, I'm triggered.
Nah, but like 95% of the time when I say I'm triggered, I'm not actually triggered.
Right.
It's more of a meme. It's a meme.
Yeah, Cat's
If it
pretty
doesn't
basic.
involve a weapon, I don't use the word.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've checked all his permissions and everything. I don't understand what the problem is.
Okay. It might be the same thing with like Alcove. Might be an issue.
Right.
That we'll have to deal with on another day. I've been meaning to talk to you, Alcove, when you've been in the voice channels and see how you've been. I know you're newer to the Discord, so I appreciate you being there and in the voice channels. One of these days I'll get in there and chat with you. All right, so back to the conversation. Anybody have anything that they've been saving up? Questions, comments, violent reactions? Ah! Alcove in the side chat said, skilled tradesmen like Potato are becoming more and more rare. That is a big issue that I'm seeing. Again, why I started my business is I saw a lack of good contractors out there, people that were able to do it all. You would hire an electrician, plumber, drywall, all of them, and you'd have to schedule them all differently. You'd have to bring them all in separately. I started my company, so it was all in one crew. And then I tried to bring
you
on.
have to hire like a general contractor to organize everyone. It's wild.
What's that now? I'm sorry, Kat.
I said you even have to hire like a general contractor to organize everyone. It's wild. Like this has been miserable.
I can only imagine. Yeah. So I am basically the general contractor that brings all the contractors together if I have to, or I just do it all myself. So I was trying to bring in jobs to the job force because I see the lack of jobs in America for Americans. And then I get into the job just about the time Rona hit, right before it was 2019, November of 2019. And then the next month it hit and I was just like, well, I'm in it now, I guess. Here we go. So it is interesting trying to get that trade to stay around because it is important. It's extremely important, especially brick and stonemason as far as I'm concerned. But anything on that?
The trades are a lost art.
What was that, B? Sorry, Trey, give me just a second.
The trades are a lost art.
The trades are a lost art. Yeah, it is. Trey, what were you saying now, buddy?
No, I said I like that. Like I had this idea back in the day. It was called Made in America by America, and it was this idea where if anything was made in America, be like tax free, like your company doesn't pay taxes.
Yeah.
And if it's made elsewhere, you pay like 50% taxes. It seemed like a good idea on paper,
right? The best of intentions. What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna hop out. You guys have a good night.
Okay, thanks for joining. It was good to have you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so anything on that subject? We can change topics if we need to for the last little bit. Okay.
No, I got to get off here too, man.
Okay, no worries.
So I'd like to say thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, before you go, I know you've got a channel. Go ahead and shout that out for us, buddy.
My show's called Hitting It with Hardwire. It's every Sunday evening. Right now it's at 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. And if you easily get offended or butthurt or triggered, I wouldn't watch it. But anybody else, we just talk about a little bit of everything on my show, from politics to riding motorcycles to a little bit of everything. There's not really much that's off the table.
Right on.
And there's a lot of cussing.
Fair enough. Do you have open panels or anything?
As soon as I figure out how to work the open panels, I used to do it all the time when I had StreamYard, but
okay.
And every once in a while I have holiday specials where it's just an open panel hanging out.
Fair.
For the holiday, like Thanksgiving specials, New Year's specials, and because I'm old and I don't go out for New Year's anymore.
Right on. Well, yeah, I'll if you do have them, I'll join, or if you want to have me on sometime, I'm down. Appreciate you coming on.
You. God bless.
Yeah, God bless. Have a good one, buddy. All right. And back to the conversation. Anything that we want to put in? No? Okay. Do we want to change topics?
What else you got?
Let's see, what do I got? So we talked about is there any way to affect change and who gets to decide what's problematic? Just next on the line is it okay to seek your own joy if you know it will be at the expense of another? If so, how far can that be taken? If not, what constitutes too much cost on the part of the other? And then is it possible to give knowledge, understanding, or even perspective to someone unwilling to receive it? Would it be right to do so? If possible, would it be wrong not to? And then universal basic income is the last one. So any topic that we want to start with?
I'm not. If could you give me an example of the first one?
Sure. Let me reread it. Oh, okay. So is it okay to seek your own joy if it will come at the expense of another? So basically like manifestation. That's a good example of that. You know how women, I'm just manifested it. I willed it into being. I wanted it to happen and it did. That's kind of the idea, right? So what constitutes too much if we were to just start basically taking things from other people? Because that's what essentially manifestation is. If you're getting something because you didn't pay for it, it had to come from someone else to be able to get that item. So is it okay to do that? Is it okay to manifest, essentially?
But so it sounds like you're just talking about stealing.
Yeah, basically. Is it okay to seek your own joy if it means at the expense of another? So stealing, the R word.
Yes.
What's that now?
I'd said yes.
Yes to.
Right when you said the R word too.
To yeah. Well, that's
Yep.
what, yes to what exactly, Che? Just want to make sure your point is clarified.
Yes, it's okay to seek joy at the cost of others.
It is
We
okay
do it all
to-
the time. When we,
And
Yeah.
we do.
you
it all the
mentioned
time.
it earlier, Potato, when you're applying for a job against 42 other people and you're like, God, I really need this job. Please, God, I need this job. Or I wish I need this job. And you
Okay.
get the job.
Okay.
You're
Well, I mean,
matching someone else. You're willing it into existence.
You're manifesting it.
I
You're
mean,
taking it from someone else. Okay.
Possibly.
Go ahead, B. Sorry. Trey.
we can go even more pedantic than that. Do you think the guy at Burger King likes his job when he hands you your hamburger?
Oh,
Does
so
your
the hamburger
give
brings you joy, and you're making them have a job that they hate by buying the hamburger.
It's a fair point.
Right?
It's a fair point.
I'd say there are some dudes that are like really into burger flipping. They've been doing it for like 30
Well, I mean-
years. They got retirement and shit. McDonald's, they have like retirement, like Burgerville in this area is unionized. You can get free fucking healthcare and shit. Well, not free, but healthcare, retirement benefits.
That was just
flipping
because they didn't
burgers.
pay you enough, so that you had to get like government.
Well, that's like
healthcare.
$20 an hour minimum wage.
But I'd say it's probably fine.
I
Not
agree.
the R,
Yeah.
not the R word one though. bad.
Even if you say you found a magic genie lamp and you rubbed it and you wish something into its existence, it would still have to screw someone else over.
Okay. Well, if we're hypothetically speaking in a genie form, it wouldn't necessarily have to screw someone else over. It could be magic if we're talking about a genie, but in hypothetical land, anything's possible, right? Okay, so if it is okay to seek your own joy, how far can that be taken? Obviously not the R word, but
I don't think it should be taken from anybody, but if somebody gives you something and it would happen to bring you joy, I think that's all right. Like say if someone wanted to buy you a video game or whatever, and you just happen to accept, you're kind of taking at their expense, but at the same time, it was willing on their part.
okay.
I think you don't get to. Your joy can't interfere with the cost of another person's life or freedoms.
Okay.
You don't have that.
I would
What was
go ahead,
that?
Aaron.
And if it hurts somebody else from you taking basically from them, I don't think you have a right to do that. I mean, if you're one of those that believe in rights.
Okay. It's interesting that you say that, and I almost want to delve into it, but it could delve us into a rabbit hole right now, so I won't necessarily go there right at the moment. But that's an interesting comment. Okay, so if it's okay to seek your own joy, and you're able to basically essentially, because I'm trying to think of something that would be not quite the R word, but not verge, on that
Well,
line
you
of
could
things.
just look at it like in romance, like, you know,
Lord.
like let's say there's a girl you like, and then you got a friend who likes her too, and
Okay.
you're both like kind of competing for that relationship, and then you get it, and is that taking it away from him? Not really, because it was never his.
It's actually a good point. Like the saying goes, if you have to say she's your woman, she never was, right? If you have to say that, she's the one who gets to decide that. Kind of like B was saying earlier, right? Interesting.
Yeah. I think divorce would be an extreme, like, show of selfishness, like in that aspect,
Okay.
like whether from a man or a woman.
Gotcha.
Especially if you have kids.
Kind of off subject. Kat, she was on the panel and she jumped before I got a chance to tell her to shout her channel out. For the people in the chat, she has a channel of her own, and she has lambs, little sheepies that she shows off. And she did a lamb cam earlier where she goes live and shows those lambs off. I missed it. It came up just as I was going live, and I don't know if it was before that or what. But if you're in the chat and you don't know, Pharmacat, OX Cat XO, I think, on YouTube. She has her own channel that she's trying to get out there. All right, sorry about that. Go ahead and go back to it now that we forgot what we were talking about.
You're talking about, seeking your own joy at the expense of others.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you have kids and, you get a divorce based on your joy or happiness, I mean, that would be the extreme, in my opinion, because, you're affecting the children far more than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually been in that situation since 2021.
Fair. I'm sorry to hear that too. Custody battles are stupid. Okay. Yeah, and that's actually a good point. There's a lot of divorces going on right now. What is it? 40% end in divorce or something along those lines of marriages. So that's definitely a talking point that we could get into. Kind of getting close to the point where I usually wrap up my stream. Do you guys want to continue? I don't have any problem necessarily continuing, but if you guys are kind of at a standstill, we can go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, it's up to you.
I do have to jet for the day, but it's been a pleasure.
Okay.
Potato.
Trey, while you're here, before you leave, go ahead and shout your channel out.
Sounds good. It is on YouTube, TRE_SELOR. You can find my original animations, gameplay videos, and other stuff.
Awesome.
And my cat.
And you can. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being here every time. I really appreciate your input, and you have yourself a wonderful evening. And it looks like Alcove is also going to be dipping on the side chat, so I would like to thank him very much. Would really appreciate you coming back on to another panel once we have your settings figured out. And if you do have a channel or something like that, feel free to post it in the side chat, and I'll shout it out when I see it. Other than that, again, I very much appreciate the engagement, and you have yourself a wonderful evening. All right. So it looks like we got Steelman coming back in. Not sure if he can speak. Go ahead and unmute and see if you can speak now.
All right.
Yeah, you can speak.
I got you.
Right on. You got anything that you want to put in while we've got you?
Oh, thanks. You know what? I'm actually
Maybe.
sitting in this, just listening for a minute. I just throw it on.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that you have a second to speak your piece if you want it. I just turned your volume up on your mic. I wasn't able to hear you too well, so if you have anything else to say, feel free.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
There we go. Perfect. Go ahead.
I appreciate it, man. I'll let you know. I was getting, heated about some of the stuff that was being talked about probably 20, 30 minutes ago now. So, yeah, but some interesting conversations you got going on here.
Fair. Well, I appreciate you being here. I really wish we could have gotten your side, because I am definitely not one that is trying to side with anything right now. I'm just trying to understand all sides. Really interested in your takes. We do have a fast debate Fridays on another channel. It's Go Tyler TV. We're much more calm, cool, and collected debate style than most other platforms are. So if you'd like an actual debate, we'd love to set one up with you on that channel. And if you would like to come back on panels, always, you're welcome to be on the panel that I have on every Thursday night. So
Thanks. Appreciate it, man.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for being here. Do you have a channel or anything that you would like to shout out while you're right here?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not really like to promote my channel. Anyone can check it out. It's kind of the Steel Man, but I don't really post much on there. I do I'm sort of like a libertarian. So some of these views, I'm not like saying I'm pigeonholed into all libertarian. I'm not like a sovereign citizen or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, some of these views that we were talking about earlier about like homeschooling and about taxes and tariffs and things like that. I had a big opinion on, but not only a libertarian, but also a capitalist. I sort of run my own, and like been working on my own business for like the last 10 years, finally starting to like get it off the ground and whatnot. And
nice.
When I see people that just like dog corporations or like, people who are making money or successful and all that stuff, or think that they should, put a cap on how much, someone's allowed to sell them for, or we have to pay them a certain amount to perform a task, all this shit. It's like, they don't realize the blood, sweat, the tears, the fucking dreams, the fucking, pardon my French, but the time, the effort, the soul, just everything that it takes to put into a business, to get a product on the shelf, to get a product in people's hands.
Sure.
And they just want to, and they take it for granted, and it sometimes it starts just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
That's fair. Yeah. As a construction owner, business owner, I understand where you're coming from for sure. Like I said, I would love to have you back on another panel to discuss in further. Maybe we'll just bring these subjects back up if you want when you come back on. Again, I don't want like heated debate. And so if you're one that doesn't care for that heated debate, this is where it's at. If you like more heated debate, we will probably have more heated debate at some point in time. But I would like to keep the conversations more calm so that I can actually understand where you're coming from. Because again, I appreciate everybody's takes, right?
Yeah.
So
thanks. I prefer like coming at everything in good faith, and not trying to like get a one up on somebody as well. I definitely would prefer a good faith conversation as well, even if I get a little passionate sometimes.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. And that's just it, is I'll get passionate for sure. So I really appreciate you coming on, and again, keep in touch with me, because I would really like to get you onto an actual debate. If you would like, don't feel pressured. And then again, any panel that you want to join, you're more than welcome to. Anything else that we want to shout out before I wrap up and let you guys get on with your evenings? Okay. Really appreciate everybody being here. I know that there was a couple of other streamers that went on just about the same time that I did. Again, Pharmacat, appreciate you being on the panel. Kennedy, I really appreciate you coming and joining in. If you haven't checked out Pharmacat, check her out. The channel, not Pharmacat. Sorry, had to make a joke. Okay, other than that, really appreciate the panel for being here. Everybody is more than welcome to come back at any time. Just remember that there is the vetting process to make sure that nobody just comes just randomly into the stream and starts saying something that they don't realize. So the panel channel will be shut off after you leave, but you are always more than welcome to come back on next Thursday. Other than that, if there's anything else, I will give the floor back to you one more chance before I leave, and you guys have yourself a good evening. All right. You guys have a good night. Thank you very much for joining. Have a good one.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks again.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be up here, guys. See you later.
Bye. All right. So, thanks for joining. That was interesting. We had a good turnout tonight. I appreciate everybody that came out. join the panel. Really appreciate the people that are in the chat. We had a decent turnout in the chat tonight. Really appreciate the people being there and talking to me and helping me through my own thing. As for, please leave comments. Tell me what you guys think. If there's anything that I can be doing differently, if you guys want to see something, please leave a comment. Let me know what I can do better, whatever. As far as right now, please take care of yourselves out there. Remember those Second Amendment rights within the United States. You are all very important to me, and I want you to stay around. No matter what happens on my panels, everyone is important to me. I just want to understand. Outside of the United States, please take care of yourselves the best way that you know how. Your rights are disappearing like they're going out of style, like I keep saying, and that's not a good sign to me. So please take care of yourselves. And as always, the potato cares about all of you and is signing off.
Salt in our beds and the road burns deep. Hands like anchors, hearts we keep. Swallowed words in the rolling foam. Men don't cry when they're far from home. Heave, boy, heave through the storm and air. We shoulder the pain. It's the weight we bear. Callous palms and 1,000 scars hide the cracks beneath the stars. Nailed to Judy, wind to bone, stealing our voices, hearts of stone. But even iron rusts with time. We break in silence, line by line. Heave, boys, heave through the storm and air. We shoulder the pain. It's the weight we bear. Callous palms and 1,000 scars hide the cracks beneath the stars. If the tide could speak, it'd call our names. Tell the truth beneath the games. We were taught to guard, defend, provide, but the sea still knows we've cried inside. Heave, boys, heave through the wind's cold stare. We carry the world. It's the weight we bear. Raise your glass, let the lanterns glow. Even hard men bend when the north winds blow.